Hello and welcome to the CX Files podcast. I'm your host, Mark Hillary. Shelli Ryan is a co-founder and principal at the CX Blockchain Institute. This is a new organization focused on exploring how CX can benefit from the use of blockchain. Shelli's based in Las Vegas, and I called her to find out more about blockchain and why she helped to found this organization. Can blockchain really be a game changer for CX? Okay, so let's go straight to the interview. Okay, so Shelli, you just launched recently the CX Blockchain Institute. Could you tell the listeners, what is it all about? Why have you felt the need to launch this organization now? And who's involved in launching it as well?
So the CX Blockchain Institute is really the worldwide authority focusing on fulfilling blockchain, specifically for the customer service industry, the CX industry. No one else is doing that. I think blockchain's been around for quite a while, but it's been linked to cryptocurrency and things like that. What this is delivering blockchain in a box for the CX industry to help really move the needle on things like omni-channel efficiencies, transparencies, and things like that. And the reason why we felt it was a good time is that folks are struggling with what's the next thing that can help us be, one, competitive, two, help to make sure that everything is very seamless and it is more efficient. And so I think it was after CX Outsourcers in Windsor that we got to thinking about blockchain and what it could do for the CX industry. And as we looked at it, we knew that it was in supply chain and logistics, right? They're doing that secretly and really stealthily in a number of organizations. But the call center really wasn't being touched. And so we thought it was an opportunity to help our folks in the call centers really get up to date with the latest to help them be more efficient. And so I've partnered with BPO and ITO experts in the industries for about 30 years. Steve Weston is one of my partners, and then Mark Angus. And so we, as a three, have positioned this full-service CX blockchain consulting firm and services firm located in Las Vegas, Nevada. And we are located at the Harry Reid Research and Technology Park.
Okay, that's interesting then, because so everybody involved in this has actually featured as a guest on this podcast now that we've got you as well. So that's fantastic, yeah. What you mentioned there about cryptocurrencies, because I think that when people talk about blockchain, there's often this confusion with things like Bitcoin, and that makes executives a bit wary because it seems very unstable. So what are the real opportunities? Right. What are the opportunities that you see for using blockchain in CX? And do you have information on like a potential market size, or what are the opportunities in the market now?
I think it might be useful for me to take a step back and really explain what I mean when I'm talking about blockchain, maybe by using an analogy. And what I use, Mark, is a playground football game. Each player knows the score at any one time, and you really can't change that score without convincing everybody playing that's a very good reason to do so. And in that same vein, each node on the blockchain-based peer-to-peer network has an identical copy on a ledger, and the ledger is unchangeable. So the playground football and blockchain achieve the same situation because you have multiple participants and they all agree on the historical record, and that record can't be tampered with. So that's the analogy that we like to use about how blockchain can help in the call center. But then technically, the blockchain is a distributed database existing on multiple computers at the same time. And it's really growing a new set of records all the time, and that's why they call those records blocks, and they're added to each of the blocks. And then the blocks contain a timestamp linked to the previous blocks, and that then forms that chain. So that's really why they call it blockchain. And really using it in CX has been driven by a couple of things that I've seen launching products and services in B2B technology and in call center for the past 23 years, and that is there's a need, Mark, to fortify transactions in the CX journey and in the call center. And the omnichannel is really not working like we're all proposing, and then all of us marketers are saying it is. It's just not working. And I think that blockchain could crack that code. But then also there are offshore BPOs that are trying to compete with those U.S. brands, and they're multiple time zones away. So blockchain as a indisputable ledger could help them really comfort the U.S. brands, because the U.S. brands at any time can look at the ledger and say, get it, see the transaction, see the relationship, see the service, good to go. And they can work with Monaco, they can work with Egypt, and so on and so forth. So it makes those offshore BPOs more competitive. But I also think that there's an increasing demand for transparency. There've been a lot of security breaches. Capital One's a very good example. There's no way really to deliver it with precision in the call center with all of these sites being very disparate worldwide, all of these silos. Blockchain can potentially help that. And look, at the end of the day, there are a bunch of software companies in blockchain and big consulting firms who are implementing blockchain everywhere within an enterprise and everywhere in its company, with the exception of the call center. Often we're relegated as the ugly stepchild of innovation projects. And so the CX Blockchain Institute really is one that's helping call center executives get ahead of that, because as we see from a global perspective, blockchain is expected to grow from 1.2 billion in 2018 to 23.3 billion. I mean, it's a pretty good jump. So now is the time, as we look at 2020 and looking at budgets for 2020, to insert a blockchain implementation, because it just makes good sense. Obviously, if you're doing RPA and AI, which a lot of them are doing now, the three-legged stool really includes blockchain as another leg to that stool.
Okay, well, you sent me some information, some of the analyst pack that the CX Blockchain Institute has prepared, and I noticed a certification process there for organizations that are trying to use blockchain. Now, is that to verify the existing standards inside a contact center, for example, or are you actually going to advise people on how they can implement this?
So really it does a couple of things. One is, as I mentioned before, BPOs are struggling to find a competitive edge, right? They've got this castle, they want to create a moat so that they are the one and only. And that's what I do day to day, is try to find that competitive advantage and amplify that. It's getting really hard to amplify something and make them different and unique. Having blockchain certification specifically for the call center is a competitive advantage. It is an annual certification whereby a call center can say to a brand, look, we are certified for blockchain to lock down a variety of different policies and procedures and so on and so forth. It is a way to be above the rest. I believe, and I think some of the analysts would agree, that the more certifications that a call center has, the more that they have from a value proposition. I would also say that the blockchain certification is really going to become the standard, such as a PCI or an ISO. It's just going to be one of those things that you can certify nearshore, offshore, at home, all of those in one bucket to make a very fortified way of doing business. And as you know, it's not just about technology. Let's take headcount out of call center. It's really about how do we do things better? How do we do things more efficiently? And then how do we do things more authentically?
I mean, there's several software companies offering blockchain out of a box. Are you partnering with companies like that, or are you offering your own solution?
You know, there are several companies and parties within blockchain implementation. I have it in three buckets. One is very large consulting firms like an IBM and Accenture. They're specifically doing transformations and implementations for a very large organization. And that's not what we're doing. Then there are also some software companies that focus just on, hey, we're going to do the code and the programming. We're not doing that either. What we are doing is combining those two in a market-friendly environment so that call centers can fulfill this in a very cost-effective way. So what we do is we partner with the software companies, the implementers, such as StrongBlock in California, for example, as one of our partners. We do the implementation, we do the assessment, we then bring them in to program and code, and then we come back around and help people understand what we've just done with the training academy, so that everyone knows how to communicate about it, how to train, how to train it, and then how to operationalize it. And then the certification takes place after that's all said and done. We've given them that framework, that blueprint, and then we certify them. And we come back around every quarter to make sure that they're in compliance. As I said, it's a one-stop shop for blockchain fulfillment for call centers.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I mean, what are the next steps for you then? I mean, what can we expect to hear from the CX Blockchain Institute as we go into 2020?
So Mark Angus is finalizing, putting the last dotted I's and T's, crossing T's on the research report about, one, what are call centers doing with blockchain, not only this year, but also for next, and where do they see the user case? How is it going to help omnichannel? How is it going to help with health records and e-government and so on and so forth? So you'll probably be seeing that in the next few weeks coming out from the CX Blockchain Institute. But also from just a vision perspective, Mark, we want to help call centers understand what they have in front of them, and we are partnering with other organizations and municipalities to bring it to light. I don't know if you know, but there is a very big swell of blockchain in Cleveland, Ohio, for example, and then there's also a swell of experts here in Las Vegas, and we are partnering them to bring that to light in the customer service, customer care industry. I mean, what better city to launch a service-born blockchain initiative than in Las Vegas? It's all about service. So that's what you'll see it here and hear from us in the next coming months. We're also on the speaking circuit to help call centers, again, better understand best practices and so on and so forth. So keep posted for sure. And you can also look at our website, which is cxblockchain.org, for the latest and greatest.
Thanks for listening to the CX Files podcast. Please take a moment to review the podcast, because this helps other listeners to find it. And if you have any suggestions, then get in touch with me on Twitter or LinkedIn. I'm at Mark Hillary with 2 L's, or just search Google for Mark Hillary.